You know, friends, if I had to choose just one word that best describes the legal predicament in which Rudy Giuliani finds himself, I'd probably have to go with Rudy's screwed. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, Rudy Giuliani's losing streak in his court cases continues, unabated. But this latest one, it's a doozy. Here's the new reporting from NBC News. Headline, Judge punishes Rudy Giuliani for continued and flagrant disregard of court orders. Kind of says it all, doesn't it, friends? That article begins, the judge presiding over the upcoming damages trial against Rudy Giuliani said Friday she will tell jurors that the former Trump lawyer intentionally hid financial documents and other records in defiance of court orders. Need I continue? Let's continue. In a 5-page ruling, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell said the move was necessary given Giuliani's continued and flagrant disregard of this court's August 30 order that he produce financial-related documents concerning his personal and his business's past and present assets and other pertinent information. That means jurors deciding how much Giuliani should pay two Georgia election workers he defamed, that would be Georgia state election workers Shaye and Ruby Freeman, jurors will be told they can assume the worst about why the former New York City mayor has failed to turn over the court-ordered records. This quote from the judge. The jury will be instructed that it must, when determining an appropriate sum of compensatory, presumed, and punitive damages, must infer that defendant Giuliani was intentionally trying to hide relevant discovery about the Giuliani business's finances for the purpose of shielding his assets from discovery and artificially deflating his net worth, the judge wrote. Additionally, Giuliani and his lawyer will be prohibited from making any argument or introducing any evidence stating or suggesting that he is insolvent, bankrupt, judgment-proof, or otherwise unable to defend himself, since he failed to hand over evidence that would show that's true, the judge wrote. The ruling is the second in 2 months where the judge has blasted Giuliani for repeatedly failing to follow the court orders and rules in the defamation lawsuit that was brought against him by Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shaye. And let's recall, friends, what Rudy Giuliani did to those two women. While promoting his client and then President Donald Trump's false claims of a rigged 2020 election, Giuliani repeatedly and falsely accused Freeman and Moss of election fraud in Fulton County. Giuliani had claimed the two women were passing around USB ports like they were vials of heroin or cocaine as they were counting votes. A report published by the House January 6 committee found that they were passing a ginger mint. Both Freeman and Moss received death threats because of the false accusations by Rudy Giuliani. And then, friends, the article goes on to catalog some of Rudy's other, let's call them legal entanglements. Friday's ruling comes as Giuliani faces increased legal and financial problems. He's been charged criminally in the Fulton County racketeering case with Trump and more than a dozen others. Giuliani's also being sued by his former lawyers, who allege he owes them about $1.4 million in unpaid legal fees. Giuliani also owes the IRS almost $550,000 in unpaid federal taxes. And friends, let's not forget, Rudy is being sued for sexual harassment. He's had his law license suspended in both New York and in Washington, D.C. But I'm sure that this is all, just a witch hunt. And friends, let's finish up by taking just a quick look at Judge Howell's order in the case of Shaye Moss and Ruby Freeman versus Rudy Giuliani. She spends the first few pages sort of going through some of Rudy's failures to comply with court-ordered discovery. And let's just jump to the end and look at some of the things she orders in the case. It is hereby ordered that, 1, the jury will be instructed that it must, when determining an appropriate sum of compensatory, presumed, and punitive damages, infer that defendant Giuliani was intentionally trying to hide relevant discovery about his finances for the purpose of shielding his assets from discovery and artificially deflating his net worth. 2, the jury will be instructed that it must, when determining an appropriate sum of compensatory, presumed, and punitive damages, infer that defendant Giuliani was intentionally trying to hide relevant discovery about the viewership of Common Sense and his social media reach for the purpose of artificially deflating the reach of his defamatory statements. 3, the jury will be instructed that it must, when determining an appropriate sum of compensatory, presumed, and punitive damages, infer that defendant Giuliani received substantial financial benefits from defendant Giuliani's defamation of plaintiffs. And 4, the jury will be instructed that it must, when determining an appropriate sum of compensatory, presumed, and punitive damages, infer that the Giuliani businesses continue to generate advertising revenue and other income from their operations. So friends, how about we just finish where we started? Rudy Giuliani is screwed. And that is as it should be. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.